My name is James and welcome back to another UFC Best Bets video. In this video, we're going to be breaking down UFC 312. I'm going to be giving you my kind of thoughts on the fight and also my best bets. How did we do last weekend in UFC Saudi Arabia? Smashed it. We went 9 out of 11 for picks, made some money, can't really complain. Unfortunately, there was no kind of real video about it just because I got sick that week, so that kind of sucked, but whatever. We're back on the mend, we're feeling good, and hopefully we make some money. Obviously, we're going to be going over some money lines, some underdogs, and some parlays at the end. So obviously, timestamps are going to be in the description, so do what you want there. But let's not waste anybody's time. Let's just get into it. Okay, so to kick us off, we have Kevin Gisette. And I know he's a Frenchman, and we can't really trust him. But he actually is one of my most confident favorites on this card. Reason being, his takedown defense is just good. Like, it just is. He has very, technical striking, so I think he's going to be able to stay on the outside, defend the takedowns against Jonathan McAuliffe, I think is how you say his name. But anyway, he wants to take it down to the ground. I think Kevin's going to stop the takedowns and be able to piece him up on the feet. I can imagine this probably going to a decision, maybe a sneaky KO here and there, but it's the French style. Stay on the outside, plop a jab out. That's kind of it. So I like Kevin for the sake, and he's kind of one of my most confident picks. I can imagine this either going by KO or decision, more leaning on the decision side, just because, he can be low volume at times, and I can imagine there's going to be a lot of clinch work in this fight. So Kevin Gisette is going to be my first money line, and I think he's at honestly great odds, if not undervalued. So yeah, let's just get into the next money line, and the next is Dricus du Plessis. And I know the first fight was very controversial, and I know it was close. But I don't really see how Strickland wins. Yes, he comes forward and just jabs. Sure, he's a good striker, but this is an MMA fight where takedowns are a thing, and we saw in the first fight, Dricus had success in the takedowns. What's going to be different? If you look at the first fight and look at where they are now, what's changed? In my eyes, nothing. Dricus has better wins. He beat Adesanya by the sub. He's the more, I would say, the finishing potential is also on Dricus. Strickland is just a decision merchant. I don't know, man. I just have a feeling about Dricus, and obviously I think a lot of people agree with me, which is why he's a 2-1 favorite here. He just finds ways to win, even though he is very sloppy. He just keeps moving forward. He can take a punch. He has a good chin. Strickland doesn't hold the best power, but yeah, no, I can just imagine Dricus, being the better guy. Probably bet the over rounds here too. I can imagine this one going long, probably in the third, fourth, maybe if we get a finish. If not a decision again, probably a very close one still, but I like Dricus here. Next, for the money line, we have Gabriel Santos. He's taking on somebody like Jack Jenkins, who I actually like. Jack Jenkins, I think he should win. Well, I don't think he should win. I want him to win. I think Gabriel Santos has a very clear path to victory here. Jack Jenkins doesn't know what to do on the ground. I think he's a very good striker, but I think Gabriel Santos is also a good striker, and he has the wrestling in his pocket. So in my head, I don't see a world where Jack Jenkins win. I'm going to be rooting for him. He just seems like a likable guy. And Gabriel Santos, although, I'm sure he's a nice guy too, just doesn't really have that, aura about him. So I don't know. I just think it's very straightforward why Gabriel Santos is the favorite here. He has the takedowns. Herbert Burns had success with takedowns against Jack Jenkins. Never a good look. So for that reason, I got to go with Gabriel as the confident money line. Again, I could see a submission coming out of this one. His subs. Yeah, so Gabriel Santos, he gets around 36% of his wins are by sub. Not bad. Not bad at all. It's either going to be a KO by Jenkins, sub by Santos, or decision. So prop bet there, go submission or decision, and I like that. Let's move on into the underdogs. Underdog time. And my oh my, they are disrespecting Zhang Weili. The GOAT. I love Zhang Weili. When I first started watching the UFC and stuff like that, Zhang Weili was, still it and all that kind of stuff, and she was just on a roll. And she still is. Nothing's really changed. She's gonna be the better fighter here. Yes, Tantini Suarez. I fucking suck at pronouncing these names. But anyway, Suarez. I think it's how you say his name. Anyway, Suarez is good. She's gonna be a big girl in there. She has decent striking, takedown defense. Nobody's been able to take her down. But Zhang Weili is gonna be the better wrestler, and she's gonna have the better striking. Where does Tatiana Suarez win here? I don't see it. I think Weili, tough as hell. She has the dog in her. She knows what she's fighting for too. The age aspect of it does scare me a little bit. But so far she hasn't looked old. And also her chin issue. You know, when she fought Yan, she did get dropped a few times, but again, she came back, almost submitted her as well. So she has that dog in her to keep going, and for that reason, I like that. Suarez, just don't fully believe in her yet. And I think also the cardio aspect of it too. The longer this fight goes, it only benefits Weili. So I like that. Don't disrespect the GOAT. Next, Bruna Brazil. I think we all know why we're going to be picking her. She's from the Fighting Nerds, and I know that's obviously like not really anything there, but she's going to have a good camp behind her, good coaches as well to kind of guide her through how to win this. And she's taking on somebody like Wang Kong, who, in my eyes, technically on paper is the better fighter, but she got dropped in her last fight. And although she's a good kickboxer, good striking, if that chin is gone, Bruna Brazil isn't the most powerful person, but she has the pressure. Her takedowns are sloppy, but again, the pressure. So if she's able to pressure, make Wang Kong uncomfortable, been able to land just a random shot, who knows? Who knows? And the ground skills, I'm going to put the advantage into Bruna Brazil. So I like the value there. I'm not going to say bet the house. That's, you know, pretty stupid if you do, but like maybe a little sprinkle, you know, maybe a little sprinkle. Next, we have Prado. I forgot his first name. Francisco Prado, the Argentina. He's taking on Jake Matthews. And Jake Matthews is so hit or miss. I can never predict one of his fights right. Whenever I think he's going to lose, he wins. Whenever I think he wins, he loses. Doesn't make sense. Jake Matthews, pretty well-rounded. He has all the skills. But I think if this becomes an absolute dogfight, what dog do you want in this, basically? Francis Prado, he likes a brawl. He's going to be the better striker, especially if it's going to come in like the clinch range, which I think it will. Jake Matthews' path to victory here is takedowns. And does he shoot takedowns consistently? No. So for that reason, I like the brawling aspect of Prado, and I think he's going to put Jake Matthews in an uncomfortable position. And from there, you know, find, I guess, beauty in the chaos, maybe. So I like Prado striking, and I think he's going to get it done. Let's move on into the parlay section. Oh, actually, no, before we do, prop bets. Weili by decision, Bruno by sub, and Prado by KO. Boom. Anyway, parlay section. Let's get into it. Parlay section. Let's get into it. First, we have Kevin Gisette, the Frenchman. And I know, Frenchman, but he should be a lock, and he should win. And then we have DDP. And I know this one's a little bit scary, you know. DDP against Strickland, you know, it was a very close first fight. Some people thought Strickland won. I think DDP has all the advantages here, and same thing Kevin Gisette. Don't really see where he loses. So I like the value on this. I think it's like plus 110. If I can remember correctly, the odds aren't on my screen yet, but from what I remember, plus 110. Gotta love that. It's like 2-1 for your money. So I'm probably gonna bet pretty heavy on this parlay just to see what happens and hopefully make some money. Next, Kevin Gisette, like I said, he's a lock. And then we have Weili. So you can either put Weili as the parlay aspect, which I think gets you like plus 167 or something like that, or you can do the over rounds for this. It's a WMMA fight. It's probably going to go long. Neither girl likes finishing the other opponent pretty early. It's kind of funny to say. But anyway, I like the over 1.5, over 2.5, something like that. But obviously, the further you get, the better odds you get. So obviously, play with your will. I think it's probably going to go by decision, but I like the over 1.5 for WMMA just because it, like 99% of the times it hits. I know it's obviously a little worse money at like negative 400 for the 1.5 here, but if you do Kevin Gisette and the over 1.5, I think you get like negative 130 or something like that, which is close to plus money. And I don't mind that being in the negatives and being more of a lock than not. And then we're going to go for a value parlay. So we're going to have Bruna Brazil, and then we're going to have Prado. The greatness that is going to come from this. What are the odds? 1,100. You put $100 on it, you get 1,300 back. Generational wealth, people. Maybe about 1,000. Maybe see what happens. Because if this upset happens, we're rich. We're rich. But do I think it's going to hit? I think the Prado side of things is more likely than the Bruna Brazil side of things. Just because, again, Wang Kong is good. You know, and I know she got caught last time, but like technically she is a very good fighter. You know, we've all seen that she's beat Shevchenko in the kickboxing. So it is going to be close, but I think Bruna Brazil with the pressure is going to be able to make Wang Kong uncomfortable, but we'll see. Hopefully she doesn't get chinned, and I think her game plan is going to be good. And then Prado, I just think the chaos that's going to be that fight, and I don't think Jake Matthews is going to go to the wrestling. So it actually does have more potential than you think. And for 1,100, why not? Why not a little sprinkle? Why not? So yeah, let's hope that we have a good weekend. Obviously, comment your thoughts and your bets down below, whether you agree or disagree with any of the picks. And yeah, let's make some money, and I'll see you in the next video. Come on.